Hello Leo friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Leo February 2022 Astrology Must-Knows Horoscope Forecast. Click on the little More button at the bottom right of this video with a little arrow there and it will reveal all of the notes, and in the notes are all the links to information about readings, information about my books, my free courses, other free goodies I make for you each month, and how you can learn astrology with me. All right, so check that out. Now, what we're about to talk about is for you if Leo is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placement of Leo that you watch for or that you're following. This is going to be part of your astrological picture. And if you are a very late degree Leo, so we'll say August 15th through the rest of the sign, or around 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you also watch my Virgo report, because you very late degree cuspy people have a more complex read and you'll benefit from both of the readings. All right, so now let's look at my little notes to keep us on track here, our Leo February 2022 must-knows. I'm going to just breeze through what we're going to talk about here and then I'll get into the details. So we've had a very extended Capricorn energy spree. We'll talk about why and what that means for Leo. We'll also talk about the beautiful Aquarius energies. Those are still making that 180-degree angle for you. We'll talk about what to know there and some specific dates to watch out for, including the full moon in your sign. And we'll talk about that. Also, Chiron is still making a trine. This is a long-term thing that's going on with Leo, and we'll talk about what that can look like and who among you is getting really a special kiss from Chiron this month. We're also going to talk about this behemoth, the very newly discovered dwarf planet Eris, who is just like really something. We're going to talk about the trine that she's making with your placement, and we'll see who among you is getting extra special kisses from that big lady. Then we'll go into a very special sneak peek at the calendar between January and April 2022, because to understand the energies of February, it's helpful to understand what's flanking it on either side and how to align your actions with, the retrograde energies mixing with the direct energies, because we're about to walk into the most open, wonderful, forward-moving time of the year, and that happens later in February. So you want to know about this because 2022 is another strong retrograde year with personal planet retrograde. So the second part of the year is going to be very much covered in Mars retrograde. So we really only have 2 open windows free from personal planet retrogrades. And so we're going to talk about the difference between when we're in that type of cycle and when we're not, and how to align what energies where, along with the visual that I'll show you for each of the months, so that you can, see where to place your important actions and understand what's coming. And then the long-awaited beautiful connection between Jupiter and Uranus. This is very exciting because we've been getting just shellacked with all of these outer planet connections that have been very harsh and difficult. They've been setting the tone for things that have been going on in the world for the last couple of years, and we know that those have been very difficult. But finally, we have 2 outer planets connecting in a vibrant, happy way. So this is rare, this is welcome, this is stretching over a couple of months. So we're going to talk about the time frames there and what kind of goodies you can expect from that beautiful transit. So let's just start from the beginning of the list. This Capricorn spree, okay? So the reason we're having a Capricorn spree is because, and now especially in February, usually by this time, the sun is out of Capricorn, right? That's definitely going to be true. But because Mercury went retrograde partly in Capricorn and Venus was retrograde recently direct in Capricorn, those 2 planets are extending their stay in Capricorn. So let's talk about that right now. What does that mean for you, okay? What that means is, first of all, a very extended focus on money and financial matters and things involving work and your father figures or your place out in the world. Often I will have someone write and say, hey, Annie, I'm not in the workforce. When these Capricorn things come up, you talk a lot about work and employment. How is that relevant for me? So all of the other things are relevant for you. Anything having to do with discipline, anything having to do with getting stuff done and organization. It also has to do with your place out in the world. And that doesn't matter whether you're getting paid for it or not. You know, it's kind of an alignment with your purpose. Let's say you're a retired person and maybe you were a teacher and you have these gifts and you're kind of bored because you're retired. This 10th house or this Capricorn energy, which is the same thing. For you all, it's in the 6th house right now. But it still carries the energy of the 10th house, which is work and employment. You might start volunteering for literacy or something, you know, so your work out in the world, whether you're getting paid for it or not, is very much a long-term question. What are you doing? Is it sustainable? You know, what are the bottom line? What are the numbers? Getting everything to work. You might be trying to save up for a big purchase like a home. You might be, you know, trying to create a family. You might be trying to start a business. Anything that involves capital and organization and planning from a financial and material standpoint is really fair game in a very extended way from December, January, February, even into March, because also in February, Mars joins the Capricorn party. So as if we didn't have enough sustained energy there. So this is really, really a pressure point for Leos, because the angle that it's made can feel very stressful, but you don't have to fear it. You just have to know that the forces that are making you get your butt in gear and get super organized and be disciplined and consistent with various things in your life are going to mold something long-term that you're trying to accomplish, right? So sometimes if we know we're feeling pressure and we understand why, and we know that it's purposeful and it will go towards something, that's all we need to know to feel better about the fact that it's happening, which is why I'm telling you, okay? So if you're feeling pressured, if you feel like you're getting more white or gray hairs or you're getting more lines, that's what Saturn tries to do. Saturn is like, grow up, right? And not always in the way that resonates with your personal philosophy. It's the Saturnian taskmaster way, and you are feeling that, okay? You might be feeling it in your health. You definitely have to get disciplined there. We've been talking about this for a while because you have long-term aspects that have been doing things there, and now you've got short-term aspects in a sustained way. So it's time to get your health on track. It's time to do all your tests and get all your, stuff situated that you've been ignoring or neglecting, those things that you've been doing that are not good for you. It's time to use this discipline to kick those habits and to get into a practice of self-care that is very meticulous and very consistent. This also has to do with animals and pets. So you might find that animals you have need more attention, or you might be working with animals more, or something notable might be going on with your own pets or animal experiences for that matter, wild animals and things like that. Okay, so now let's talk about the Aquarius energies. Okay, so we talked about this last month, and this is still true. Aquarius energies oppose your placement, so they create a 180-degree angle. They also fill up your 7th house, which is your house of relationships. So that relationship focus that we talked about in January, it's still happening in February. It's going to keep happening in March. You've got a lot of focus on your personal relationships, honing down into your key relationships, having more discernment in your relationships, anything having to do with finding a perfect practitioner, someone to help you with something, to manage your business or to reach any of your goals. It could be a psychologist, or it could be an acupuncturist, or it could be a plumber, or it could be a tax person. Getting your team together for your support system. And this feeds into that 6th house that we were talking about with your health, because part of the answer of how you're going to have better health and feel, better in general is by getting your support system and finding key people, and the universe is lining it up to find some pretty key people at this time. There's also a lot of energy of fated relationships coming in, and this has been present for a while, and it's going to continue to get deeper. You'll notice that, it seems if you're paying attention, you're like, wow, I've known that person before, right? There's a lot of this energy of fate, of people coming into your life in a very long-term way and working on projects with people. So all of that is very well indicated at this time. And the expansion of your friendship networks and anything having to do with internet-based projects are all very well supported. something to look out for, but okay, and at the same time, everything that I just said is true. But remember that this is still making a 180-degree angle to your Leo placement or placements. If you're not sure what your placements are, go to anniehelpsyou.com. Sign up for the free email newsletter there, right front and center. You'll get a welcome letter that will give you software access to run a free birth chart. You can run the free birth chart and come back and listen again. Because then when I talk about these degrees, you can drill down with me as I give you the information, right? So all of you are going to be, we'll say that's not even true at this point. For February, all of the all of the July-born Leos, okay, you are actually done with your oppositions of Aquarius, okay? So if you're a July-born Leo or you're 0 to around 9 or so degrees, then all of the Aquarius oppositions are finished for you. Everyone else, you still have the star goddess Estrella, the sun, Saturn, all doing their opposition thing. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And a big thing to note, February 1st, we've got the new moon in Aquarius at 12 degrees. It's conjunct Saturn. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Saturn because it's ruling Capricorn and all of this. So we've got another either harsh reality bump or something that gels into place at the beginning of February in a very long-term way, even though we still have, retrograde energies that can seem a little dicey and unsure. Something is starting to gel in the backdrop, and it might start to make itself more apparent here at the beginning of the month. All right, so those of you who are right at the beginning of August, first couple of days of August, you'll receive the biggest hit or note, wake up or whatever it is, for better or worse, from this new moon. And those of you at the end of July and really into the whole first week of August might get some little, effects from that as well. All right, so now let's talk about this full moon in Leo, because we usually only get one full moon a year or in a 13-month moon cycle. And when it happens, it's very notable. Fullness, fruition, completion, drama. Leo, if you did not know already, and this might not surprise you, is the sign of theater. So like actual drama, so whether it's, acting and that type of thing, or whether it's just like drama and flair and, that type of thing, Leo rules all of that. So when we have a full moon that's already emotional and dramatic, which will be February 16th, so the days before and after, just kind of leave a little room in case something super emotional happens. But the emotional thing that happens, again, doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It could be news, that you're getting engaged. It could be news that you're having a baby. It can be, big news related to Leo-related things, which are kids. Gosh, it sounds like the plane's going to land in the house. It's like kids, romance, your bucket list, like doing something you've always wanted to do. So a lot of like flair and drama in the middle of the month there for all Leos, especially for you late degree friends. Okay, so if you're in August 15th through the rest of the sign, or 23 degrees to the rest of the sign, the closer to 27 degrees, the more intense, you will be getting more of a hit from this full moon. All right, so now let's talk about Chiron. All right, Chiron is an asteroid, and we don't always talk about this regularly in general astrology reports, but I like to bring him up when it's relevant because he's the wounded healer. Now, the mythology about this is kind of fun. He's actually, not completely human. He's got a horse butt and legs, and he's a centaur. So, but he was the trainer of heroes. And so all of those stories that you read about, those old Greek stories, the humans that did amazing things, Chiron was their trainer, all right, their teacher. And then Chiron accidentally got killed by a random arrow. And that was not cool, right? So hence he's called the wounded healer. So he wound up getting to have his life back. That's a whole other story. But the point is that his energy represents woundedness and healing the chironic wound. So Chiron's presence can usually be a little stressful and dicey, but when it's in a trine, like it has been for a while for anyone who's a fire sign, all Leos, that means that you're in a cycle of healing, sometimes with some smoothness, the things that were really problems for you in the past. And now you're making those weaknesses your strengths. So that's what this is very much about. Now, this is true for all Leos, but those of you who are in the last couple of days of July and the first couple of days of August, or if you know your degrees, 9 or 10 degrees, you're getting the exact trine right now. All right, so now let's talk about this star goddess Eris. Eris is a very, very, very important player in modern day astrology. Whenever we discover a planet, it's always was there, right? It didn't just all of a sudden come there. We discover the planet because it's time for our consciousness, our global consciousness, to start working with the storylines of the imprint of what that archetypal energy is. And so we're not going to go into all of the details about what Eris's archetypal energies are, but I will tell you a couple of very important things, because again, Eris is trining Leo placements, and this is going to be for a long time, like a really long time. Eris's orbit is like 560 years. Just to put this into perspective, our furthest out heavenly body that we had been looking at, Pluto's orbit is around 240 years. So this lady, Eris, is just like dwarfing, literally, she's dwarfing Pluto with her like epic range and effects on modern day psychology and experience and human evolution. So it's pretty intense, and it has a lot to do with getting in touch with your intuitive side, with, healing resentment and things that have gone on in various contexts. But for Leo people, this is a trine. So you've got this big, awesome lady completely supporting you in all of your endeavors. And those of you who are at 23 degrees, you have even more goodies, right? So again, if you run the free birth chart, you can see where your degrees are. But for the birthday people, birthday Leos, that's going to be around 13th or so, the days around the 13th of August. Okay, so now let's go into the sneak peek of between January and April. I've got a visual that I've laid out to show you the flows of the Venus retrograde, the shadows, the Mercury retrograde, the shadows, the eclipse cycle that's going to be, coming up. Not quite yet, because we are free from the heat of the eclipse season this month, but I'll show you how it weaves in, and also this Jupiter-Uranus influence and where that is, so that you can align your activities with the retrograde versus direct flow and understand that better. Then we're going to go into this beautiful Jupiter-Uranus transit and what goodies you might see from that.
Okay, so to better understand the energies of February and how to use them, it will be very helpful to understand the energies that are surrounding February and running our compare and contrast. And plus you get a sneak peek into the whole full first quarter of 2022. So we're going to check this out. I'll give you details about this as it relates to the energies of retrograde and direct, and then we'll hit our retrograde direct list so that you can see what types of activities to align in what location on our calendar here. Okay, so here we are in February. Now, just to give a little backdrop, January we had Mercury go retrograde on January 14th. That shadow period had started in the last couple of days of December. So essentially all of January is full of retrograde energy. All right, Mercury was retrograde, Venus was retrograde, didn't go direct till the end of the month. Now, we still are having a carryover of that energy into February, because even though Mercury is direct right here at the beginning, it doesn't clear out of its post-shadow period until the 24th. This is what I mean about this hybrid energy, because the energy after the 24th is more in the direct energy, and then that just steamrolls and gets stronger on the 2nd of March when the energies become more completely clear, and we open into our first open launch period and our first of only 2 open launch periods of the whole year. Now we'll come back to this calendar, but I want to talk a little bit about the difference between the retrograde and direct energies to help you understand. January and for most of February, we've been in Retroville, okay? So this is a time when things are going inwards and backwards. The tides are coming in. If you're trying to put something out onto the water, into the world, the tides are going to just roll it right back in. So it's better to just deal with what comes up. I always like to say, be the spider and eat the food that comes to you instead of trying to go out and find a bunch of food or, weave a bunch of webs and push and, make things happen. This is a time that, although the energies are strong with Capricorn energy in January and February, which is good for getting stuff done, it's still better for dealing with the things you have to deal with that have piled up, that, clearing out the clutter, doing your taxes, researching things for the future, wrapping up loose ends. You'll have a lot of focus towards tedious tasks, but that doesn't mean you should be trying to push them out very far. You just kind of deal with them as they come up. It can lend itself to a little confusion because with the retrogrades, things get called into question. So for most of February, we still have some things possibly being called into question, especially that first half. And it's a time really to just honor the flow. If you're trying to do something and it's not working, don't force it, and you'll have a much happier relationship with the retrogrades. So it's a time to be in the moment and just, leave room for last minute magic. But basically leave yourself unscheduled as possible in your circumstance to leave room for this last minute magic. Okay, so just to go back now, this retro that we talked about, this is all of January and pretty much the first half of February, with it starting to wane after the second half of February as we get towards February 24th. But then once we get into February 24th and being triumphantly reiterated as we get to March 2nd, and then very strong from March 2nd through April 27th, is the big open time for launches. So let's look at what that means. So that is the direct energy. Direct in this instance is talking about no personal planets being retrograde. Personal planets, Venus, Mercury, Mars are the personal planets that go retrograde. And we have another retrograde year here because we've got Mars retrograde towards the end of the year. So we've only got another time, part of June, all of July, part of August, that will be completely free from personal planet retrogrades. And of those 2 windows, this window, this March 2nd through April 27th window is even more strong for launches than that June through August one, because we've got all these Aries energies that will be coming up in March. And that is really good for bursting things out into the world. So here's where you want to do your big launches, your big life dream decisions, get your book out, engagements, weddings, marriages. Spring is, or fall for you all down under, is a lovely time for weddings. And this is a really fantastic time in the stars. Agreements, commitments, investments, moves, brand new projects, having clarity, future planning, and to push, initiate, and even force sometimes. If you have to push through something within yourself, it's much easier to push things out into the world when the tides are going out, as they will be towards the end of February. Okay, so once we get around Valentine's Day, February 14th, things are starting to look pretty clear. We still have another 10 days of the haze until we get it completely clear, and then we still have a little lingering energy of Venus. Venus, of course, ruling love, beauty, money. I went into those energies at fully in the November, December, January horoscopes, and you can search for Botticelli Venus retrograde to understand that more. but that's very, very important to understand. Okay, so while we've got our calendar here, let's just hit a couple of more points. Eclipse season is going to start mid-March because it starts around 4 to 6 weeks before the first eclipse, which in this case actually is April 30th. And then there's one in May as well. These are the Taurus Scorpio eclipses. And so those types of, big changes, the anxiety, the butterflies, the feeling like your finger's stuck in a socket, we've got a break here in February from that. Because even though we can see eclipse news or eclipse-related news come in at any time during the years of the eclipse cycle, they tend to heat up in the 4 to 6 weeks before the eclipse. So this February time is really nice in that way, that we are free of the heat of eclipse season. And actually, February is one of the most non-eventful astrological months of the whole year. We've, a lot of times we've got a lot of things going on. In February, we have a little bit less. So it's just kind of, it's a hybrid in the way that it's, retrograde for part and direct for part. But we don't have as many planets clashing. We don't have any of the big negative planet clashes that we've been having. And actually, we have a super positive one, which we're going to talk about more after this. But I just want to show you the dates on the calendar here. Mid-January through mid-March, this Jupiter sextile Uranus aspect. Now, we've been getting shellacked by outer planets connecting in a difficult way. When outer planets come together, it's very powerful and have very strong lasting effects for everybody. And the aspects usually last for a long time because those planets are slower moving. So we only have one pass of this Jupiter-Uranus beautiful kiss. And the strongest part of it will be here, February 17th through the 21st. But the whole month before and after, the energies are very strong. So let's talk about what the blessings and potential positive effects of the Jupiter-Uranus connections will be. Okay, let's drill down into the exciting transit of Jupiter sextile Uranus. As we've been talking about, we have been having a lot of difficulties with the outer planets, these slower moving planets that once they come into a configuration, they stay in it for a while. Except that has been very heavy because the configurations that have been happening over the last couple of years have been consistently difficult. But now we have a beautiful period where we've got the outer planets, two of them, Jupiter and Uranus, Jupiter in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus, coming together in this fabulous combination. So we're going to talk about some things that go on as positive potentials. But let's first look at what we're looking at here. So here is the planet Uranus. And here is Jupiter. Jupiter's in Pisces. This meeting is actually going to occur at 11 degrees. Okay, so once Jupiter moves to the 11 degree of Pisces position, it will lock in place into a sextile, which is a 60-degree angle. If you've been listening to my work for a while, you know that a 60-degree angle is the opportunity angle. It's the ingredients on a counter angle where we're presented with a bunch of different options to make beautiful meals in our lives. That's a figurative and possibly literal as well. But we have to do something with it. So this is a time where you have to really look for, sometimes it will be apparent, but you have to look for and do something with the potentials, and then you can activate this expansion of Jupiter, the intuition and artistic connectedness to all things of Pisces, the emotional high EQ, and this Uranus, the innovation and surprises and sudden insights and sudden events in this grounded energy of Taurus, meaning the very unstable energy of Uranus is able to be much more manifested into form, which is a hard thing to do with Uranus. It's very fleeting. So the combination of the solidness of the earth placement, the really just innovative and futuristic energies of Uranus combined with this beautiful, emotional, intuitive, expansive energy. So anything that combines all of those energies, there will be lots of opportunities. Now, the dates that are most active are February 17th through the 21st. This is the big day when the official degree and minute line up, but they're still matching at 11 degrees through this time, from February 17th to February 21st. But from all of mid-January, and sensitive people could feel it a little sooner, even beginning of January, possibly even sooner, but certainly mid-January through mid-March. And again, sensitive people, if you're looking out, you might see those effects kind of drizzling in later. But we've definitely got a 2-month period where this energy is very strong and very usable. So we could discover the power of rest and quiet revealing itself in wonderful ways through sudden insights, problem solving, awarenesses of the past, dips into the future. In this particular configuration, daring to do something different can yield very positive results. Now, I'm not talking about, and here we can kind of talk about this, indulging in a crazy idea can work out big time. We're not talking about super reckless, very dangerous things necessarily, unless intuitively there's something very specific in that for you. But in general, this is something with like a calculated risk. That Taurus energy with the Uranus really likes that calculated risk, but just having the daringness to do something different. And that's very subjective. So you doing something different, can feel like a big deal to you, this thing you're going to do. But someone else might not think twice about doing that particular thing. So it's a relative experience, but it could work out really well. Taking a step away from an issue or a pattern could reveal sudden life-changing insights and outcomes. So that's this, Jupiter and Pisces, where we're expanding that quiet space. I like to call it the space of private personal pursuits. And then anything artistic in nature, finding your voice with your art, stepping into art for the first time, expanding the artistic endeavors you have. Artistic endeavors can take on more special significance at this time. And any psychological or other inner work can actually expand even further and include sudden healings of addictions, fear, or anxiety. Now, just to, be very raw here, as humans, we're probably never going to be completely free of fear, right? But the patterns and the addictive pattern of feeling when we have to be afraid, we could have some major impact here, including perfect practitioners that come in, modalities that come in that can be helpful, or our sudden and clear commitment to use tools to help us to calm down when we get anxious. Tools like EFT, the Emotional Freedom Technique. There are so many tools you can look for, tools to clear fear, tools, self-help for anxiety. And of course, if it's very extreme and you need help, then this might be a time where you can find someone that can really help you. And innovation and intuition commingling in powerful ways. So this is just a really magical time full of promise, with that little note, though, the little footnote that says, but hey, it's a sextile, so you might actually have to do something with those possibilities that are surrounding you to activate their full glory. Okay, so I've given you lots to work with to help you make the most of the energies this month and to help you understand the energetic patterns at work and play. And if you'd like more resources, I've got all of these here. You can additionally go to the little more button, the little arrow underneath the bottom right of the video. Click on that, and all of the links that I'm giving you here will be clickable, right? So if you're looking for reading options, including a beautiful, very detailed 45-minute audio of your birth chart for $33 from my brilliant husband, you can find that at anniebclarity.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. This is where you can access running a free birth chart. This is where you access my 28-day in-depth virtual coaching program called Shine for free. This is also where you'll find tons of blogs
And you get lots of other perks for being on my newsletter list. If you're looking for written horoscopes by me, always up a month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you haven't seen this site, go to it. It is so beautiful. We've got, me and my team have lots of amazing astrology-inspired blogs and healthy living blogs. We've got hypnosis for all the signs. We've got healing frequencies for all the signs. I've got the written horoscopes that I write. We have yoga for all the signs. So it's just a very beautiful, comprehensive site. If you're looking for free courses on how to manifest money and wellness, you can go to lumlife.com, my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, LUMLIFE. You can also find my astrology education courses here, including my behemoth of a master course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can fully utilize even if you don't want to be a professional astrologer, but it certainly will get you up to the level where you could be and show you how to make your business a success. And payment plans are available there too. Now, I've also got 2 books out and more on the way. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You will find this on the bookshelves in all major booksellers, including all the Books A Million, all the Barnes & Nobles. It's right there on the shelf. Plus, you can get it on Amazon and through any independent bookseller. And you can find Radical Prayer on Amazon, and you can order it anywhere as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye!